Okay, today's session, we are going to try, like yesterday's session, to finish the siman. Siman Tov Pei Daled, learning about Rosh Hashana, davening on Rosh Hashana. Yesterday we spent the full session on discussing Hamelech, 2 days ago rather. Hamelech and Shir Hamalos in the middle of davening. Middle of Psuk Zimmer, would you say it or not? Piskei Chuvas and Os Aleph, towards the second half of this Os. Says that there is a custom to open the Aron Kodesh at a time when one is saying these different piyutim. This is going to be a surprising ruling, and we're going to learn about this a little bit more. From the letter of the law, a person is not obligated to stand up when the Aron Kodesh is open. That's me'ikr hadin. It's sad hadin. The custom is to stand, and it's considered you stand for honor, especially those that sit by the Aron Kodesh and they could visibly see the Sefer Torah.
The whole raid by Simchas Torah.
Correct. I'd like to take this small paragraph over here and talk about this a little bit. Moshe Feinstein sets out the tshuva on this topic. In the Shilos and Tshuvas, Igros Moshe, or Chaim section, Chelek Hey, Siman Lamed Ches. He asked this question, and he says, is there an obligation or not? To stand when you're saying Pizmoinim, when you're saying Avin Malkeinu from the letter of the law, not. Maybe there's no obligation at all. Maybe there's not even accustomed to do it. So Moshe over here in this tshuva is discussing the sources, the background, the Gemara in Kedushin on Lamed Gimel, how you know that you need to stand for Sefer Torah. Stand for a Sefer Torah when the Torah is moving, when it's on the move. Someone is taking it from the Aron Kodesh and transporting it to the Bima, or vice versa, from the Bima to the Aron Kodesh. When a Sefer Torah is in its place, you don't need to stand. For example, if it's on the Bima. If someone is holding it sitting next to the Bima after Hagba. Why then would one need to stand when the Aron Kodesh is open? So logic would say, because that is the holy place where the Sefer Torah belongs. That's where this comes from over here. Then Ramosha, further in this tshuva, he has a lot of discussions. And he says over here in the beginning of Os Gimel, this is all from the letter of the law. Technically, you don't need to stand. Even if the Aron Kodesh is open, you don't need to stand. However, the custom is when the Aron Kodesh is open, to stand. That's the custom. Me'izatam, whatever the reason is. For example, they open it for whatever reason it is, the custom is to stand.
Talking about Adam's Neros?
Namir is sheer. When you say sheer, yeah, probably. When you say Avinu Malkeinu, etc., whenever you open it, the custom is to stand. Ne'ilah, custom is to stand the whole Ne'ilah. Based on a Taz in your day, Reish Ben Beis, it's not an obligation. It's custom to do so. Custom. Might even be less than a custom. It's a Maila Ba'alma. Nice, but not necessary. I think there's tremendous insight in what we just did. Before we conclude with this tshuva, just in the few minutes that we've been learning already, People are educated. They're raised in a way thinking that you have to stand, and if you don't stand when the Aron Kodesh is open, it's the biggest sin. Not even true at all. Total fake news. See, Moshe reiterates again, it's not even a custom, it's a minhag ba'alma. It's a mere custom. Okay? Um, this is because b'shvil avos v'chavivos ha'torah shahaisa alayim. This is to demonstrate our love and endearment that we have for the Torah. But it's not a full-fledged obligation. Mhm. Pretty straightforward. You'll find this in many Svarim. Moshe talks about it also. Okay? He says, look, this is all I'm telling you from the letter of the law, but really he says, if you're asking me, says Reb Moshe, you should really be standing when it's open. Why? Because people are going to see us that we're not standing. That's going to set a negative precedent that could cause others as well. To cause others to mess up and not stand. Okay? That's Reb Moshe's tshuva.
Hmm.
That's the basic idea.
The only time I feel like this is a shiloh for me is Simchas, like a Simchas Torah. If I want to sit down doing a kafos and that's
Simchas
whatever.
Torah, sitting for hakafos, is a discussion. We learned in the past somewhere that there's a heter. If the Sefer Torah is in the middle of a circle and people are surrounding the Sefer Torah, just like by Hilchos Eruvin,
Yeah.
could be considered halachically a mechitza, and it separates a domain, so therefore you'd be able to sit.
If there's sort of they're not supposed to know that they're being in the pizza, I guess here that would apply also. Nobody really thinks that they're in the pizza.
Right. See that?
Interesting. So,
Yeah.
so it's saying, I guess, we're only standing now. I mean, obviously it's a covered Torah here and stuff like that, etc.
Mhm.
But we're only standing because Mikra then you could sit.
Yeah.
The person is like you say by Nihila or something like that. I know he met the Moshe Zal mentioned. Person's weak, a person's tired, then there's ways to be matir.
Let's continue with the next subject, which will immediately address that. Piskei Teshuvos in towards the end of Os Aleph over here quotes Siman Kufchav Daled. What's going on in Siman Kufchav Daled?
That's a shot.
Very good. Very good. The Rama over there relates the custom among Ashkenazim to stand for Chazar Sashatz. You see sometimes young Israels and everything they sit, but see in any yeshiva, everyone is standing the whole Chazar Sashatz. It's based on this Rama. We stand during Chazar Sashatz. The text of the bracha, Anshe Knesset Hagadola enacted. Okay. They enacted the text of the bracha. Not the piyutim. The extra, the long parts of davening is because Musaf is so long. Chazar Sashatz is so long. That's all extra. Many, as it's discussed, Piskei Teshuvos Chochav Dalet Os Yud, see there, many don't stand for the piyutim, Chazar Sashatz, Rosh Hashana, Yom Kippur, especially people who are weak. And if the chazan is dragging it out, schlepping, and they have what to rely on. Where's this coming from? mentioned around 2 or 3 sessions ago. Beautiful Sefer Isha Yisrael and Hilchos Tefillah, red Sefer. In Perek Chav Daled, Os Chav, says that some hold the congregation needs to stand during Chazar Sashatz. Nevertheless, people who it's difficult for them to stand are allowed to sit. If we go to the footnotes over here, put the Shulchan Shlomo. This is
Wow.
Shulchan Shlomo says an important point. Tafli sha'in al stender aser, the kedoima aser. The dafka smicha shin yenotel hadavar dipol. Leaning on a stender on a table, to the extent that if that which you're leaning on would be removed, you would fall, has the status of sitting. Smicha ki yeshiva dami, and therefore one should be careful not to lean on something to the degree that he'll fall. Mishnah Berurah himself, in Cheshbon Esrei, attacks and is upset about chazanim that do this on when we daven. They lean on the stender,
Oh,
up, back, forth, and it's funny that nothing's changed in 100 years, and it's still an issue over here.
so he's saying that when you're standing for Chazar Sashash, you should stand. I'm guessing Kedusha, if somebody was stepping out the singing, you can lean on your stander.
Better not to. You have to, but better not to. But if you have to, you have to.
Kedusha?
Yeah. Or Kedusha.
Singing a slow tune, taking a nice time.
That's why I go to earlier minyanim. They don't drag it out. The footnote over here, they quote a very important psak from Rav Eliyashiv, who says when there's piyutim, the yamim noraim, you don't need to stand. You don't need to stand. All right. It's based on a psak of the, what is this? At the Das Torah. Forgot what this stands for. Yes. Forgot the name of the sefer. Based on a ruling that he says, Shena Das Kedoshim. Okay. There's a prohibition, as we know from the Gemara, from the Shulchan Aruch. You're not allowed to walk in front of someone when he's davening Shemona Esrei. That's only talking about in the actual Shemona Esrei itself. But the tefillos, tachanunim, piyutim, you're allowed to walk in front of someone.
No.
A lot of times you could see what his sit is open to. Right?
Okay.
You could tell.
Once he gets to a kind of so, then you're good to go.
Right. Yeah, piyutim also. So just like over there, we see that there's a leniency, so it's over here. And therefore, this is a right over here, what we're doing right now is probably the most relevant halacha of this entire siman that we've already spent hours on. Not to say that what we've done isn't relevant. Its relevance is incredible, fundamental. But this is probably the most relevant halacha. This is what I had in mind when I said in the introduction to the siman that people spend hundreds of hours throughout their life davening on Rosh Hashana and Yom Kippur, but yet people don't even spend a couple of hours learning about the halachas. This is one of the halachas that I had in mind. That preferably one should certainly be standing in front of the However, you really don't need to. You don't need to. It's more lenient. This ruling of Rabbi Yashav isn't even talking about people who are weak. People who are weak, for sure, don't need to stand. That's even throughout the rest of the year. Rather, this is talking about healthy people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, healthy men. They don't need to stand.
The piyutim.
The piyutim in Rosh Hashanah.
Does that mean you
And
have
the
to get up
singing.
to the body of the tefillah, like Nachman Sopranos and Shofros and Moed, in the first three?
Modim, you need.
Moed, you have to.
Kedusha, you have to.
Let's say, like, first through last three.
Yeah, if it's not the piyutim, then a person should be standing. Yeah, yeah. This is the psak of the Isha Yisrael. The what's doing this here? It looks like everything else in here we already saw. What do we see? Do we see this Halichos Avin Yisrael? Is this on again? Yeah, the Halichos Avin Yisrael over here. This is a sefer they quote from Rabbi Yisrael Fisher.
It's Diane Fisher.
I'm not sure if he's a Dayan or not.
Because he's a Diane Fisher.
So the Chazar Zashat, Rabbi Fisher, Rabbi Yisrael Fisher, was stringent to stand the entire time. Regarding the piyutim that were added, when the Aron Kodesh was open, he would stand. When the Aron Kodesh was closed during those piyutim, if he didn't have strength, then he would sit. Okay? Should stand during Chazar Sashat. He would stand when the Aron Kodesh was open. Look at the Taz in your day, Reish and Beis. We just saw this quoted in Rav Moshe's Tshuva. You don't need to stand when the Sefer Torah is in the Aron Kodesh, even though it's open, but the custom is to stand, etc. That's the Taz, that's the whole Tshuva from Rav Moshe. That's the Sha'ar Tziyun and Kuf Mem Vav Sifkat and Yurches, the halachas of Kriyas Torah. You don't need to stand, the custom is to stand. Charles Tshuva's Chasam Sofer says, no, you got to stand when the Aron Kodesh is open. Okay, this is a nice topic that gets cross-referenced slightly from Yordeya. It comes up a second time, which is the main time, a third time, Chos Kriyas HaTorah, talking about when the Aron's open, and a fourth time will be by Simchas Torah by Hakafas. It's going to come up in 4 different places. We are addressing this issue together for the first time in this location. Comes out that when the Aron Kodesh is closed and they're in the middle of Piyutim, one is allowed to sit for Chazar Sashat. It is what's called meritorious to stand during the whole Chazar Sashat, even on Rosh Hashana and Yom Kippur.
Is it?
Right? That's what I said. The sources for it, what I just said.
Standing will keep.
Yeah, especially Yom Kippur to be like angels at this thing.
Yeah.
I just want to point out unprofessionally that I forgot to share this yesterday with everyone. It's one other story that I forgot. The Shalos and Shuvas Menachem Meshiv. I've opened the Sefer before. It's quoted. I opened it. Here's a piece on Hamelach over here. He addresses an interesting question by Hamelach. Is it a problem of the hefsek? Someone says Hamelach and then he goes to be Chazan, to where the Chazan davens. Why don't you just go to where the Chazan davens and then just start over there? Hamelech. It's based on the story that we saw yesterday. There's an idea like the person who was captive. But he's going into the halachic potential issues of it being an interruption.
I'm sure you understand the question because.
Well, the question is like this.
Yeah.
If you're going to say a bracha on your talus in this room and put it on in that room, that's a hefsek.
Okay, it's room to room.
Okay, it's right. That's room to room. Okay, but even if there's a hefsek of shihia, just delaying, waiting, like what are you doing? And it's a tichad tzibur maybe you're making the whole congregation wait. So what? It's pretty bizarre. So he says over here, his language is, you don't need to worry about it. You don't need to worry about it. Okay. We discussed it a little bit more. He quotes a few other places. Like what you were saying, and he says, Lo yadati minhag zeh Alma Adina Hutva. I have no clue why we do this.
That's what we said.
Yeah, yesterday, but then we saw another tshuva yesterday. Which tshuva was that? Remember?
No, no, you
2
did see a
days ago.
mupper though.
That was the
Just a-
Shayla Shal. No, we saw yesterday in the Shayla Shal. We saw a source for it. That was the story with the
No, I understand what the band, the guy's taken away. Yes,
yeah,
King, please save me,
exactly,
but we didn't
exactly.
see where.
No, it doesn't have a
where's
strong
the
source.
Yeah.
That's what they say. And he says, I don't know a source on this. Aval lakol yeshayrish. There's a root. Any plant, any tree that's growing, there's got to be roots. Okay, so there's roots for this. And he says, if you want to do this, you should. However, mishum tirchid tzibur nagu ba shelo yutzurchu lahamtin ad shebal psuke de zimmer yisalku atzmim fanvish inish beinish paga ze hoilich ze ba ad she mezamer melech abal psuke de zimmer kar makoma ba b'shalom. This is a funny reason. Doesn't apply what we daven really. Let's say you have a very narrow hallway. So from where the chazan is going to be leaving and the new chazan's coming, it's a one-way street. There's a very small amount of room. So they're going to bump into each other and it's going to be hard to cross paths.
Maybe the beam is all the way up front.
The beam is supposed to be in the middle, right?
I'm saying it's in the middle. Let's say it's for whatever the reason.
There's nothing to do with the beam. You're not using a beam here.
No, I'm not saying you're on the beam. I'm saying
Yeah.
that the beam is so, like it's big. Let's say it's, I know a shul like this where
Yeah,
it's big.
yeah.
I mean, there's enough room, but I could see it where the
Okay.
beam-
So if it's really so small, they're gonna cross paths. So when the random person in the crowd is gonna say Hamel, then the one who is doing Psukkah de Zimra will be able to go back to a seat. This is a funny thing because this doesn't apply in over 99% of
Yeah.
shuls. Number one. Number two, officially you don't even need a chazan Psukkah de Zimra as we discussed 2 days ago. So the whole thing is questionable. In the footnote Aleph over here, yeah, he goes in, okay, when to start saying it, okay. There's a story, two stories. There's one story I saw it. It's so funny because I had it in my notes. My notes on Divrei Torah and Rosh Hashana, not Halacha, or Hamelach. I'm editing and going through everything now. I'm pretty much almost done. And not that it's so many notes. I have like 40, 50 pages in English, not 12, whatever. So the notes in Hamelach as they look in around the Maggid table, page, whatever it was. Okay, that's what Pesach prone. So I made a note on my computer to look it up. I was editing when I was in the basement. I didn't have it with me. It was at home. I got home yesterday. I looked it up. This morning, I'm starting to go through Rabbi Galinsky on Rosh Hashana. So he's talking about Elul and everything, and he quotes this same exact story. I think it was Rabbi Aaron Karlin, and he said Hamelech, and then he fainted. So they revived him, and they said, "What happened?" So he quotes a Gemara in Gittin. It's about a story with a potential king, and basically said, "You got to be fearful before you come in front of the king. All the sins that we haven't been doing." So I think basically the point of the story. It would have been better if I would have remembered to say this yesterday when we actually talked about Hamelach, but we're all the same people, so
Who's going to
you
say
got
the story about the king again? That was the.
it was Vashbisen or something.
No. I'm talking about the one with the bandit and.
That was a Shiloh
king.
Tshuva Shayla Sha'ul.
Shouts from Sheva Shalom. Yeah, I know. So
It's right over here. Shayla Sha'ul. Yeah, Shayla Sha'ul. Yeah, that was the story. That story, right? So it's Shayla Sha'ul. Yeah.
So, because I'm having something with a thousand over my house tomorrow. Shabbos lunch.
Okay.
See if he knows anything about a melech.
Well, I'd recommend printing out. I put it in the description on 2 sessions ago. I put it in the description of the video, around 150 words summarizing the whole book on Hamelach. put it all out. I have it. This is what it was. It was saying Hamelach Shir Hamelach the middle of Psukkah Zimra. Click. That's where you were yesterday. Right over here. This is the whole Chabur from yesterday, from 2 days ago. Okay. Let's continue a little bit more. Everything that he's bringing over here, he's quoting footnotes on this. Okay, here's the Taz and Yordeya, the Pri Megadim, the Sharat Zion that we saw talking about the Aron Kodesh is open or not. Sefer we saw quoted also. Is in the Halichos Evan Yisrael. How did I chance on that? He must quote this in the next footnote. Here's the Igros Moshe down here. All the sources right here. Here's the Yishai Yisrael quoting Rav Eliyashiv. Here's your Rabbi Fisher. You could tell when I was learning this, I didn't take out my mouse because I had in mind I would just do it now. I was trying to just go as fast as I could while also properly learning, of course. So here's your Halichos Evan Yisrael. That's how I got to that. Okay, now we continue. What about Kaddish to Skabel after Shemona Esrei? The custom is to sing, he says. It's very controversial. I don't know how much you've ever researched this topic.
So that's both by Shachris
But-
and by Musaf?
Yeah, this is very controversial psak. To sing on Kaddish Skabel. I know every single year, Vasikin Menu, I daven at the Aguda, one of the older people there always tells the Chazan not to sing, and the Chazan always sings to Skabel. So that's how I'm familiar with this psak, which is an infrequent halacha, an uncommon halacha, because it comes up out of the whole davening. This is one of the few halachic points that comes up in davening. Okay, what would be the reason? And we'll see the source of where he's coming from to sing it, but the general halacha would be not to. What would be the source to sing it? To show that we have faith in Hashem's mercy. He will judge us favorably. And the custom is to sing that Kaddish. Oh, he says over here. Even so, on the line to Skaba, we don't sing.
Wow.
Okay, so I misread it. The Kaddish in general we will sing, but this one phrase to Skaba we don't sing. Why? Because this is the main Iker Tachenunim Shalonu. These are our main supplications on this day, saying Skabel Slaison means that our tefillah should be accepted. And
What's the connection that we have to take it serious? That singing is not serious? That singing is not.
some degree, look at this footnote over here. It says there are many kehilos which do sing even this phrase of Tiskabel, for the previously mentioned reason to show that we have faith and guaranteed that our tefillos will be accepted.
So the source is the Mata Ephraim.
The Mata Ephraim says not to. I don't know if that PDF file is over here. Tesvav. This okay. It's not here because this is on the Hamelach and the Psukkah Zimra, which we saw. I didn't want to make too many Mata Ephraims. I didn't just want to make a 20-page PDF also. So I didn't put it up, but I looked up this Mata Ephraim. He says not to sing. And the Mata Ephraim is like I said a few seconds ago, he's a classic source. The Mishnah Berurah quotes him. He's huge on Rosh Hashana Yom Kippur. Huge. He doesn't have he has only on minimal areas of Shulchan Aruch, but he's a classic.
The Mishnah Berurah don't address this.
No, they don't address it. Now he continues over here. I just like to say, if you look at the old edition of the Piskei Teshuvos, the rest of this footnote he doesn't quote. This is how holding in this topic I am. I even know in the different editions
So what he
what he
stops
quotes
by
or
the
not.
parentheses?
He stops like over here, somewhere over here. This is added later. He says, "V'chein hu." This is also what's quoted in the Darchei Chaim V'Shalom over there, and he says that was the custom of my Zaidi. B'nara and Aro Pashti. Do whatever you want. Okay.
That's why he comes in for.
He says, do whatever you want. Okay. Up here, he said not to sing it. That's general halacha. That's a good psak.
Probably sang.
In the
The
footnote,
footnote is only going on the Tiscavo?
yeah, Tiscaba.
Uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh.
Yeah, because it says Tiscaba. Specifies
Okay,
that line of
okay.
Tiscaba. Okay, who is the Darchi Chaim V'Shalom? He said, where is the source that shows that you could sing it? Let me give a defense for that chazan.
Hmm.
So this is the Munkacher Rebbe. Once said a Chavrusa, he was a descendant of the Munkacher. And if you look it up over here in the Munkacher, and this is Os Tavshin Chav Zayin, like he accurately quoted, towards the end of the Os, he says, "Begamar Tfilu Deshmona Esrei de Musaf." Okay. Um, Va'acher Hatekiyos Gamru Benigun Tiskabel Soisan.
That's Yom Kippur. No, is that also Rosh
No,
Hashanah?
no, he's talking about Tekiyos. They're doing
Oh,
Tekiyos.
10 tekias, right? Because there are
Huh?
people who blow shofar, or that's after Hashem Elokim.
Forget about shofar. We're going to learn about that. I said we're going to cover everything except for shofar. Right? But over here, this is fascinating over here because he clearly says there's a Munkacher Rebbe, and he clearly says to sing it, and he puts it in parentheses. Okay, so this is the source to sing it. Lastly, regarding Avinu Malkeinu, the custom is to stand. Some of the custom to skip on Rosh Hashanah, what's mentioned sinning. And you mentioned sinning.
Yeah, we
Okay.
say it on Rosh Hashanah?
We do, we don't bang on the heart though. It's not considered a vidu. So this is the end of Os Aleph. So we learned a tremendous amount of information. I guess we're gonna have one more session. We already learned about crying. I wonder if we could quickly. I want to rush this. Okay, so we're gonna learn a little bit more about this. Siman, maybe one more session. Because we already did Mila. Should just try to finish it now, just to see that we did. We'll have one more session because also there are a few notes in the Derish. I'm not gonna rush it. So basically we learned about a lot of information today, of relevant information about standing during different parts of Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. And next session we'll continue. Next session should be the last session of the Siman. And then my game, then I think based on what I looked at last Shabbos, this past Shabbos, there's a lot of small simanim at the end of Rosh Hashana. If we cover all those small simanim, then we could probably finish pretty much everything except for shofar. Pretty much everything. And also we skipped Siman Tafkov Pei Daled, which talks about Hamelach, ironically. That's what we skipped during Hamelach HaKadosh. Those are Kel HaKadosh. Yeah, those Hamelachs. It's a different Hamelach. But that's a major focus point of the day, making Hashem king. So if we tackle those simanim at the end, there's maybe one that's a little bit longer, even though it's only 2 pages in the Mishnah Berurah, but there's a lot going on there. We could say that we basically finished everything of Hilchos Rosh Hashanah except for shofar. Obviously, shofar is the major area, but nevertheless, it's quite an accomplishment to finish everything else. So okay, Mitzvah Hashem, we'll continue next time. Have a wonderful Shabbos.
Oh, yeah. All right, have a good Shabbos.
Okay.